What if you could stop emotional suffering with a single thought? What if a 2,000-year-old mind trick backed by modern therapists could uncover the real cause of your anxiety and give you your peace back? It sounds way too simple to be true, but an ancient Roman philosopher and the founders of modern psychology stumbled onto the exact same secret. Most of us think our pain comes from the world around us. A stressful job, a tough relationship, an uncertain future. But what if that's not the whole story? What if the real source of our suffering is something we have total control over, but we've just never been taught how to manage it? Stick with me, because we're about to break down the single biggest cause of your anxiety and give you a step-by-step exercise to reclaim your mind. Intro and hook. Section 1. The problem. The emotional trap. We all fall into. Let's start with a scene. You make a small mistake at work. A simple error, something anyone could make. But for you, it doesn't stop there. It kicks off a downward spiral. I can't believe I did that. I'm so incompetent. My boss must think I'm a total idiot. I'm definitely getting fired. I'm a failure. Sound familiar? In just a few minutes, a tiny external event has created a hurricane of internal suffering. The mistake itself was a neutral fact, but the story you told yourself about it, that's what caused the anxiety, the shame, and the fear. This is the emotional trap we all fall into. Modern psychology has a name for these junk food narratives: cognitive distortions. They're irrational, biased ways of thinking that our minds default to, especially when we're stressed. They're like funhouse mirrors for reality. They take an event and twist it into something more negative, more personal, and way more threatening than it actually is. Cognitive distortions are a massive contributor to emotional suffering, including anxiety and depression. Think about patterns like catastrophizing, where you jump to the worst-case scenario instantly, or all-or-nothing thinking, where anything short of perfect is a complete failure. Then, there's emotional reasoning, the assumption that because you feel something, it must be true. I feel like a loser, so I must be one. These mental habits aren't random. Our brains are wired for survival, and this negativity bias helped our ancestors stay alert to saber-toothed tigers. But in the modern world, that same wiring often goes into overdrive, trapping us in a cycle of negative thoughts and the painful emotions they create. The result? A constant state of low-grade anxiety, frustration, and a feeling of being powerless against our own minds. Most of our mental suffering doesn't come from our lives, but from the distorted stories our anxiety tells us about our lives. The problem isn't the event, it's our interpretation of it. And this isn't some new idea. In fact, it's a profound truth that was mastered over 2,000 years ago. Section 2. The principle. The ancient wisdom and modern proof. This brings us to a Roman philosopher named Epictetus. Born a slave around 50 AD, he rose to become one of the most influential Stoic thinkers ever. His core teaching is so powerful that modern psychology has adopted it as a primary tool for healing the mind. Epictetus said it simply: "It is not events that disturb people, but their judgments about them." Read that again. It's not your boss's email, the traffic, or a critical comment that causes your suffering. It's your judgment about it, the story you tell yourself, that holds all the power. The external event is neutral. Your internal interpretation is what makes it good or bad, terrifying or trivial. A job loss is just an event. The suffering comes from the judgment. I am a failure, and my life is over. This is the Stoic mind trick, creating a clean break between external events and our internal opinions. And here's where ancient wisdom gets its modern-day receipts. The founders of cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, one of the most scientifically backed forms of therapy today, openly credited Epictetus and the Stoics as the inspiration for their work. They realized that what the Stoics had figured out through philosophy, they were now proving with science. Irrational beliefs are the root of our emotional pain, and the path to peace is to identify and challenge them. The Stoics organize this idea into a practical framework called the dichotomy of control. It divides the entire universe into two simple categories: things you control and things you don't. Things you cannot control include other people's opinions, the weather, the economy, the past, and whether your favorite team wins. Trying to control these is a guaranteed recipe for frustration and anxiety. Things you can control are your own thoughts, your judgments, your choices, your actions, and the effort you put in. That's it. That's the whole list. The secret to inner peace, the Stoics argued, is to pour all of your energy into what you can control and practice acceptance toward everything else. Your emotional suffering isn't caused by the uncontrollable events in your life, but by your controllable judgments about those events. This is the shift from being a victim of your circumstances to the commander of your own mind. If you're getting value from this blend of ancient wisdom and modern science, and you want more tools to build a more resilient mind, take a second to subscribe. We're exploring timeless principles for modern problems, and we'd love for you to join us. So, how do we actually use this when we're spiraling? When you're in the grip of anxiety, just change your thoughts feels completely impossible. That's why we need a structured practice. This is a 3-step exercise, pulled straight from Stoicism and CBT, to reframe your thoughts and dissolve emotional pain. Step 1. Identify the thought. Separate the event from the judgment. The next time you feel that rush of anxiety, anger, or sadness, stop. Instead of drowning in the feeling, become a detective. Ask yourself, what was the neutral event, and what is the story I'm telling myself about it? Get it out of your head and onto paper. Create 2 columns, event and judgment. For example, event. My friend didn't text me back. Judgment. They must be mad at me. I obviously did something wrong. I'm so annoying. This simple act creates space. You are not your thoughts. You are the of your thoughts. As Epictetus advised his students, tell your distressing thoughts. You are an appearance, and not at all the thing you appear to be. By writing it down, you turn an overwhelming feeling into a few sentences on a page. You see the story for what it is. Just a story, not a fact. Step 2. Challenge the thought. Put your judgment on trial. Now, look at the judgment you wrote down. It's time to cross-examine it. You're the judge, and you need to question its validity rationally and compassionately. Ask yourself these CBT-inspired questions. 1. Is this judgment 100% true? Can I know for a fact that this is reality? In our example, can you be absolutely certain your friend is angry? Or could they be busy, taking a nap, or just away from their phone? 1. What's the evidence this judgment? Think of other times your friend was just busy. Think of other possible, less personal reasons for their silence. 1. What's the cognitive distortion here? Is this catastrophizing? Mind reading? All or nothing thinking? Just naming the distortion helps rob it of its power. Realizing you're mind reading makes it clear you're guessing, not dealing with a fact. 1. What's a more realistic or compassionate way to see this? This isn't about toxic positivity or pretending everything is great. It's about finding the most reasonable and balanced interpretation. By systematically questioning the thought, you loosen its emotional grip. You're training your brain to second-guess its first, often flawed, interpretation. Step 3. Reframe the thought. Write a new, more useful judgment. The final step is to consciously write a new, reframed thought to replace the old, distorted one. This new thought should be rational, balanced, and constructive. Let's finish our example. Old distorted judgment. They must be mad at me. I did something wrong. I'm so annoying. New reframed judgment. My friend hasn't texted back yet, but I don't really know why. There are a dozen possible reasons that have nothing to do with me. I'll just assume they're busy and focus on my own day. I can always check in later if I'm still concerned. Feel the difference? The first judgment leads straight to anxiety and self-blame. The second leads to calm and acceptance. Nothing about the external event changed. The text still hasn't arrived. But by changing you've completely changed your emotional reality. This isn't a one-and-done fix. It's mental training. The more you practice this three-step process, identify, challenge, reframe, the more it becomes your brain's default setting. You are literally rewiring your mind to move from suffering to peace, from knee-jerk reaction to rational response. For centuries, we've been taught to look outside ourselves for the source of our problems and our peace. We chase promotions, approval, and perfect situations, thinking that one day when everything is just right, we'll finally be happy. But the Stoics and the modern therapists who walk in their footsteps teach a more profound and empowering truth. The source of our suffering isn't in what happens to us, but in how we judge what happens to us. The power to end our emotional pain has been inside us all along. It lives in the space between an event and our response. You have the problem, cognitive distortions. You have the principle, the dichotomy of control. And now you have the practice, a way to reframe your thoughts. As the great Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This isn't just a mind trick. It's the key to unlocking a state of inner calm, resilience, and freedom that no external event can ever touch. What's one cognitive distortion you recognize in yourself? Share it in the comments below. The first step to mastering your thoughts is becoming aware of them. And if this video helped, make sure you catch our next one on the 7 Stoic exercises for building unshakable mental toughness. Thanks for watching.